You're welcome to the spot, you know the truth is here. Bronx tales on a beat, we see it clear. All the cases, all the shadows, we break it down. Pull up a seat, join the fam in this town. Every story matters, every voice you bring. We don't just talk the talk, we let the facts sing. Logan and Bronx, yeah, they lead the way. Shining light in the dark every single day. Yeah. Curiosity welcome, questions never wrong. Here you belong, it's a family strong. From cold cases to the ones unsolved. Together we uncover, together we evolve. No gossip, no rumors, we keep it real. Every detail matters, every clue you feel. We vibe, we learn, we investigate. Bronx tales, true crime, let's elevate. We stay with us every night and day. We uncover the truth in our own way. Come here, let your mind explore. Bronx tales, true crime, always more in store. Yeah, welcome home. Yeah, you're never alone.
Hello, happy hump day. How is everybody? I literally just sat down. I was putting together Bronx's buddy the other day. So I just sat down. Let me get situated here. How is everybody? It's Wednesday, guys. We're halfway there already. Yeah. Excuse me. Let me say hi to everyone first. Pokey and Sally and Denise. Carol. Hey, Techie Tech Offset. Hey, Four Hands. Tattoo Gal and Dina. Nibbles, the Westie, beautiful Miss Proburger, cool name. Hey, Jenny and Misleading Evidence. Hey, Lizzie girl. All right. Hopefully, hey, Conspiraling. Hopefully, and Zero Cub. Bianca will be here shortly, or Christina, but we have Carol and the Heezy and Pokey and the Heezy. We are good to go. Hello. All righty. Let's get started. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share a couple things that you guys may have recently seen or may have seen in the past. But this one is, where is it at? 298? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So this one is Marcbee. We are going to just jump right in today, y'all. All right. This one is Marcbee. And this is just showing whether we believe if this is Murphy or not being walked in the morning. I'm going to play it. It's a short video, and then I will give you my thoughts. We'll play it on down.
Hello, YouTubers. We're going to have a look at this dog and see if we think it's Murphy. Let's keep in mind this person is wearing a black hoodie with white stripes, white shoes, and black pants. So let's have a look here. I'll try to keep the timestamp in there. Here we go. I'll zoom in. Watch how he keeps his tail straight out. We'll do that again. Straight out tail, dark tan. Okay, now we're gonna have a look at the law enforcement that picked up Murphy at 12:39:08. And there's Murphy, so let's have a look. Murphy looks a lighter color, possibly a larger dog, and his tail stays up. And I'll show you that as we walk it. Watch up against the police car, his tail's still up. See it there? It does not look like this dog here is Murphy. It looks darker, different type of tail. Also, about 51 minutes earlier than what we just saw at 10:59, the same guy with the black hoodie, white stripes, dark pants, walking out. So let's take a look at the dog. And the tail is still kind of horizontal. Let's keep an eye. We'll see it around the corner here. The tail never goes up. I don't think it's the same dog as Murphy, but I'd love to hear your input. Please leave a comment and have a nice day.
So I agree. I'm going to play it one more time just because it is a short video, but I want to point out the things that I noticed as well. And thank you, Marcbee, for making this video. This is very, very helpful because there has been quite a few debates lately. And I'm not sure if everybody's debating so much lately because we've got some new people making videos, or there's not much going on in the case. So people want to talk about it. Let's debate some little things. But either way, we are going to talk about them. So I agree. I don't think this is Murphy at all. The first dog looks a tad bit taller to me, looks a tad bit longer. The color, like Mark said, is a little bit darker. And of course, like Mark said, the tail of the first dog goes straight out and never has that curve upward. And Murphy's does, and pretty much doesn't ever come down from that upward curve of the tail that Murphy has. So I'm going to play it one more time just so we can be sure. But also, I wanted to say who I think this is walking this dog that is not Murphy. In my opinion, I believe that this is the guy who stated he walked by 1122 King Road at 8 in the morning and walked by again with his dog around 11 or before 11. And I believe this is this guy who stated he saw the front door open both at 8 o'clock in the morning and close to 11 o'clock in the morning. 1122 King Road front door was open, according to an eyewitness walking their dog. And I believe that that is possibly this guy here walking his dog. One more time so we can compare that. I believe this is not Murphy. Oh, let's go back to the beginning.
Hello, YouTubers. We're going to have a look at this dog and see if we think it's Murphy. Let's keep in mind this person is wearing a black hoodie with white stripes, white shoes, and black pants. So let's have a look here. I'll try to keep the timestamp in there. Here.
And take a look at the timestamp. It is literally a couple seconds before 11. So they stated, the man walking his dog stated he saw the door open for the second time at around 11. And that's what time it is. I believe that's who this is. The guy who saw the front door open.
Here we go. I'll zoom in. Watch how he keeps his tail straight out. We'll do that again. Straight out tail, dark tan. Okay, now we're going to have a look at the law enforcement that picked up Murphy at 12:39:08. And there's Murphy. So let's have a look.
So this one is Murphy being walked out of the house, which I still just feel horrible for that dog. Nobody acknowledged him when they took him out. Nobody was like, oh, yay, Murphy's safe. Oh, that just drives me nuts.
Murphy looks a lighter color, possibly a larger dog, and his tail stays up. And I'll show you that as we walk it. Watch up against the police car, his tail's still up. See it there? It does not look like this dog here is Murphy. It looks darker, different type of tail. Also, about 51 minutes earlier than what we just saw at 10:59, the same guy with the black hoodie, white stripes, dark pants, walking out. So let's take a look at the dog. And the tail is still kind of horizontal. Let's keep an eye. We'll see it around the corner here. The tail never goes up. I don't think it's the same dog as Murphy, but.
Do you guys know that, okay, not that long ago, I watched a video from the very, very beginning of this case, and I recently said the same thing, but I'm going to repeat myself. At the very, very beginning of this case, I watched psychic, and they drew a certain card, and she said, oh, look, it's a pumpkin. I have no idea why there would be pumpkins involved in this case. And now every time I see this camera footage and I see those pumpkins, I'm like, that lady called it. Like, how random and weird. But yeah, there was a psychic before we ever got any information or cam footage or anything that was like, oh, I see a pumpkin in this case. I wonder why. That's really strange. So crazy. Okay, so it has come to my attention recently, in the past 2 days. where I've gotten both comments as well as emails, and it was regarding the Lynden Beck issue that's been going on for the past couple days. So I hit on it on Monday and dispelling the rumors of what people are saying that Lynden Beck stated he went over to the house 4 hours prior to the 911 call. And a lot of people are kind of going back and forth about this. Yes, he did say that. No, he didn't. That's not what happened. Yes, it was, yada, yada, yada. So I've gotten some comments and emails and stuff, and they said from different people, they said, well, how come nobody has shown the Lynden Beck interview? How come nobody's gone over the Lynden Beck interview? And I was like, what? Lynden Beck's interview is not new. Lynden Beck's interview came out over 3 months ago. And everybody, when I tell you everybody, everybody has gone over the Lynden Beck interview when it first came out. Now, when I say everybody, I mean Lana, Pav watched it, Jules went over it, we went over it here. Lots of people have gone over the Lynden Beck interview, and not one person that knows the case facts said that Lynden Beck stated he was over there at 9 in the morning. Now, if that was stated and that was true, don't you think everybody would have said that and stopped it and said, wait, what? He said he went over there at 9 in the morning? Well, nobody did that because that's not what he says. So, for one more time, we're going to play the entire Lynden Beck interview. It's short, it's less than 10 minutes. So, just to get everybody on the right track, we will play Lynden Beck's interview again. We played it when it came out 3 months ago, but we will play it again. And we'll just go over that spot where people think that he says he went over there at 9 a.m. Please keep in mind, Lynden Beck stayed the night at Emily's house. There is something strange about Lynden Beck's interview, but it has nothing to do with going over to the house at 9 o'clock in the morning or any time prior to Emily receiving the call from Dylan asking her to come over. The strange thing about Lynden Beck's interview is that he stayed at Emily's house. Emily and Hunter stayed at Emily's house as well. There were a few other friends that stayed at Emily's house that night. Now, Lynden was with, it was, I believe, Josie. Josie and Lynden stayed over at Emily's house with Emily and Hunter. That was it. So 4 people. Josie and Lynden were in the living room. The strange thing that Lynden Beck did say was that he never saw Hunter that night. He never saw Hunter or Emily that night. So when Hunter states that he got up at 4 in the morning and had a weird feeling and went and locked the front door, Lynden Beck is basically saying that's not true. He never saw Hunter, and he was awake. Lynden was awake from 2 in the morning until 5 in the morning. So Hunter saying that he went and locked the door at 4 in the morning is not true, or else Lynden would have saw him. Lynden even states, actually, I'm not sure if Hunter was even at Emily's because I never saw him. He could have been at his own apartment. So we are going to just play the Lynden Beck interview and dispel this for the last time. It seems as if somebody is putting out videos stating facts that may not know the case details in depth. Lynden did not go over there at 9 in the morning. Let's play it and we'll just go over that part. Just real quick, Offset said he had to go. He's upset about his cat. I'm not sure what's going on, and obviously that's perfectly fine. Go take care of your baby, but just keep him in mind in case something's going on. Over here we love the fur baby. So if you come back, Offset, let us know if everything's okay or if there's anything we can do to help, but we'll be thinking about you. Ha, 1 second. Sorry.
And what's
My
a
bad.
good phone number?
I'm over here just watching it by myself, and you guys are like, what the heck? Sorry. Okay, so this is Lynden Beck again. Quick interview.
And what's a good address for you? What do you live
Like
right now?
here?
Yeah. Okay. Is that a frat?
Yeah.
Which one's that? Sorry, I don't know any of that.
That's all right.
Stay inside most of the time. Okay. And I will apologize now for asking weird questions about sororities and fraternities because I just never did that scene. So, what can you tell me? Did you go party?
No, I slept through that.
Okay.
I was sleeping at the Whites with Joe. Crashed pretty early, and then we were up.
He said, I was sleeping at the Whites with Josie. We crashed pretty early.
We got back up around really early in the morning, like 2, 3.
What time did you guys crash, roughly?
8 maybe.
Yeah.
And then, sorry.
No, you're good.
We woke up around that time that happened.
Okay.
He said he woke up around that time, the time that happened. At first, I thought maybe that was a strange comment, like, how would you know what time it happened? But then I remember Dylan standing outside saying, about 4 a.m., pretty much at 4 a.m., around 4 a.m., da-da-da-da-da. Now, there's a couple things I find strange about Dylan saying that, but I'll get into that later. We'll continue with Lynden Beck for right now. He stayed the night with Josie at Emily's house with Emily and Hunter. Emily and Hunter were in Emily's bedroom. Josie and Lynden were in the living room, at least when they were awake from 2 to 5. They were awake and in the living room.
And yeah.
What, help me, for somebody that doesn't know the layout of the sororities, where's the Whites compared to where Dylan and them live?
The Whites is like, let's say, what's that
Trace Australia says, who was the male voice on the 911 call? And the male voice on the 911 call was Hunter. So Lynden Beck and Josie were in the living room at Emily's house that night. Emily and Hunter were in the bedroom. At 11:47 or whatever time it was, close to that, within a couple of minutes, Dylan called Emily's phone. That was the first call she made on her phone to bring people over to the house because something happened. So it's Emily, Hunter, Lynden, and Josie that all grab their stuff and go over to 1122. However, Hunter goes over there a little bit before everybody else. And that's when he goes in, grabs the knife, checks on Xana, all that. That's when that happens. So on the 911 call is actually Hunter. Apparently, Lynden started to go in the house. He did enter the house. He did start to go up the stairs, but that's when Hunter said, get out, call 911, which was strange. They were already on the phone with 911, so I don't know. But back to Lynden.
Street that so here's the White's apartment, maybe.
Okay.
Like that's like the 2 apartment complexes,
Right.
And I was like up here.
If Hunter hands the phone to another guy, then it would have been Lynden because those were the only males that were there. Is Lynden then the one that says, yeah, I don't know, they just handed the phone to me, and then he's like, here, you have to talk to him? That would have been Lynden.
And the other house is like back here.
Can you access that off of the side road, or does it come through the parking lot?
You go like the parking lot. You go right here.
Okay.
Go walk through there.
Football field distance? What kind
Yeah,
of distance?
I'd say so.
Okay. And that's Joe's apartment?
Yeah, Joe's apartment.
Gotcha. Okay.
The boats are there.
Okay. So you guys woke up about that time. What woke you up at that point?
What woke us up?
Yeah. What's did you
Just
have?
woke up.
Okay.
I don't really know.
What did you do at that point?
We were just hanging out in the living room.
Yeah.
Just talking. And then we were up till probably about almost 5.
Yeah.
And then went back to bed. And then we woke up in the morning. I said probably around 9. Maybe earlier, I'm not really sure. I didn't sleep much.
Yeah.
But and then came into the room.
Okay.
He said we woke up at 9. I'm not sure. It might have been around 8 or 9. They were in the living room. And sometime after that, he says, Emily came in the room because Emily got the call. So from 9 to 11, they were just hanging out, hanging out in the living room. And then Emily got the call and came into the living room to where they were.
And then I think, and she sounded pretty scared. She said there was somebody in her house last night.
And now he's explaining the phone call that Dylan made to Emily. He wasn't saying at all that he went over to the house at 9. He just said he woke up at 9. Him and Josie were hanging out in the living room. He then skips, like basically nothing happened from 9 to 11 something. He just skips that whole part and then goes into the phone call that Emily received. And we know from Dylan's records, Emily received that phone call. She was the first and only phone call from Dylan. Nobody else had gotten a phone call yet that we know of. We know that Snapchat was awfully busy, so I'm sure people knew. But as far as the actual phone call to bring people over to the house was to Emily, which is where Linden was. And then he just goes into that. He's not saying he went over there at 9. He's just saying nothing happened between 9 and when Emily got the phone call to come over, which was at 11:47 or 52, sometime before noon.
They ran downstairs and locked himself in a room because she saw somebody in her house and she could only see.
Yeah, it sure could leave room for confusion, especially people who, it could leave room for confusion anyways, just because he skips that part. He skips that whole time frame. But he's definitely not saying he went over there at 9 because he then says, Dylan called Emily, Emily came in the room, and that's when we grabbed our stuff and left. So that's saying, because we know when that phone call came in. So he just basically skips from 9 to 11:47. At 9, he's not doing anything, but he's awake. At 11:47, the call comes in and they all go over there. That's what he's saying. But yeah, it could leave room for confusion just because he skips that whole part because nothing happens, the whole part from 9 to 11 something. But he definitely says Dylan called Emily and then Emily came into the room where he was at. And then they got their stuff and went over there. So that couldn't have happened before Dylan called Emily. We have Dylan's records, and she only called Emily once. So that happened when they got their stuff and went over there to 1122. That happened at 11:47 when Emily got the call.
His nose in his chin or something like that.
Okay.
And then she was freaking out. She wanted us to go over there. So we got her stuff and went over there.
On the phone, Dylan was freaking out, and Emily's relaying the message to the other people that are in the house, which is Josie and Linden and Hunter. He said she seemed pretty scared on the phone, and he's going to say, we grabbed our stuff and went over there.
So you and Joe at the house didn't go to the...
No.
Right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They also didn't go to the... right?
I don't think so, no.
So when was... nine in the morning-ish. When was the time before that you saw?
I was up with and Jeff at like 3.
So that you were hanging out with the girls at that point?
Yeah.
Was Hunter there?
Yeah, he was sleeping in the bed.
Okay.
So here he goes into kind of where Hunter's whereabouts were that night. And I do find it awfully strange that Linden was hanging out in the living room with Josie and Emily. Apparently, Hunter was there all night, but nobody saw him. Linden just said, yes, Hunter was there, but he was in the bed sleeping all night. But again, nobody saw his whereabouts. Nobody saw him in the bed sleeping, because watch what Linden's going to say.
Or he was at his apartment, I'm not sure.
Or he was at his apartment, I'm not sure. So that tells me nobody saw Hunter. Hunter claims he was sleeping at Emily's house, but Emily was in the living room with Josie and Linden most of the night. So he doesn't even know if Hunter was actually there all night or not. And that is weird because Hunter claims he stayed at Emily's and at 4 a.m, he had a weird feeling, so he jumped up and locked the door. Well, that's strange because Linden claims he never saw you, Hunter.
I remember being there though.
Okay. And then obviously knows girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she part of that, or is she in a different sorority? Is she in a sorority right now?
Yeah.
She is. Okay.
Well, I think she might have dropped, but she's still technically, or maybe not technically.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tattoo Gal says, so Hunter has no freaking alibi? Pretty much. I do find it strange, and I found it strange back when this interview came out, that Hunter claims to get up and lock the door at 4 a.m. However, he's got 3 people in the living room at the house he was at, and nobody says they saw him. Linden didn't see him get up and lock the door. And if it was the bedroom door, that means he would be locking Emily out of the bedroom. But Linden just said Emily, Josie, and him were all hanging out in the living room from 2 to 5. Hunter did not get up and lock that door. Matter of fact, Linden says, I don't know, Hunter could have actually been at his own apartment because I didn't see him at all. But I thought he was in the bed sleeping.
Beth. So you woke up, Emily and her were there. Normal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, and
In the morning.
and that was what?
Wait, 1 second. Conspiraling says he was at 1122 at 5:33. Him and Emily. He says hi to Xana and exchanges his number with someone before he wishes good luck to you and leaves. Where did that come from? I'm not doubting you. I'm just curious where that comes from because we also have issues with where Hunter's phone is at, right? Because Hunter claims he left his phone over there, but we have no clue when he went back and got it because he had it that next day. Yeah, Hunter does look bad.
Time-ish.
Maybe around 10-ish.
Okay.
Johnson, Hunter Johnson.
And then you guys went over to the house. Did you all drive in the same car?
We walked.
Walked.
Now he asked when they got the phone call, and Linden doesn't know. He says maybe around 10-ish, when really the phone call came in at 11:47. Kind of a big gap of time there, but I suppose understandable considering. I don't know.
Because it's really
It's
close.
not that, yeah, that was my bad. Trying to kill the environment by driving. So what happens when you get to the house?
Ran out, or they were crying, walking out, and
He says when he got to 1122, him, Emily, and Josie, because Hunter took off and went there first, which is so strange. I don't know why that's so strange to me. He says as those three were approaching 1122, Dylan and Bethany came out of the house crying.
got there before us.
Was he with you guys left that apartment at the same time, or?
Yeah, he went ahead of us.
Okay.
He was, I think, really concerned.
Gotcha.
And we got there.
Tracy says, look at 1112 footage that morning. You can see Linden walking Murphy. We actually just went over that. Marcbee did the very beginning of this live, actually. Marcbee did a really good video comparing dogs, and that's actually not Murphy. I think most of us thought it was Murphy at first, but now that Marcbee did a comparison with Murphy being walked and the first dog being walked, it's not Murphy being walked. It's a completely different dog. It's at 10:08 and 10:59. You can see on the camera, completely different dog, different shape of the tail, different length, different color, still tan, but a darker tan. So yeah, I think most of us did think it was Murphy, or could have been Murphy at least, but the first dog being walked is actually not Murphy. Marcbee did a good video on it, but yeah.
I was inside, and everyone was crying, and I went into the downstairs door, but I didn't go up the stairs because it was up there too.
So he walked into the crime scene. He started to go up the stairs, but he didn't go up the stairs because that's when they're on the phone with 911. And that's when Hunter says, don't come up here. Get out, get out.
He said, don't come up here, you don't want to see this.
Don't come up here, you don't want to see this. Which is strange because if he says to Linden, Josie, Emily, don't come up here, you don't want to see this, then why didn't he say to the officers, oh, it's not an unconscious person, there's blood freaking everywhere and they're dead? Why didn't he just say that? If he already said you don't want to see this, then why did he still act like there wasn't an emergency and it was just an unconscious person when other people arrived, like the police? That doesn't make sense to me. And if he's saying, don't come up here, you don't want to see this, and Dylan and Bethany aren't saying like, what do you mean? You don't want to see what? You don't want us to see what? They're not saying that. Why aren't they saying that? Because they already know. They've already seen it.
Okay. How well do you know, did you know Ethan?
Not well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just know enough him, kind of thing, to the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever talk about Xana or Maggie or Kaylee? Maddie, sorry.
What do you mean?
Did she ever talk just about them having boyfriends, anything like that? Did she know Xana? And
Yeah.
so
No, they're really close friends.
right. So do you remember them talking about anything like boyfriends that are being assholes?
No.
Conspiring says, what time did everything go offline? Does anybody remember? Are you referring to Maddie and Kaylee's phones? If you're referring to Maddie and Kaylee's phones going dark, it was 2:53 in the morning. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the very, very beginning of this case, all of the news reports, all of the reporters, and even the officers themselves were making reports saying the crime happened between 3 and 4. So I want to know what the heck they found or what they heard or what they saw to tell them the crime happened between 3 and 4. Because what they want to call suspect vehicle 1 and Brian Koberger and his car, or what they think is his car, didn't even show up until 4:07. So what was making them think the crime happened between 3 and 4? What information did law enforcement have that told them it happened between 3 and 4? And it stayed like that for a few weeks until Brian Koberger was arrested. Then suddenly it changed to after 4.
Guys maybe at work that are being assholes, anything like that? Okay.
Oh, Denise said, no, they said the internet wasn't working at some point in time. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Or did I know that? Because I remember people talking about some sort of like scrambler, like a blocker maybe to block phones and internet. But I don't remember seeing any actual proof of it. So I don't know if that was ever taken anywhere, but I do remember that part.
Have you seen or heard anything on social media popping up?
No.
Okay.
My phone died.
Understood. My camera's about to do the same thing, so. Okay.
Yeah, and the medical examiner said it was between 3 and 4 as well. Yep. Which is wild to me because medical examiners can tell very close to the minute of the time of death by, all different ways. Different temperatures of organs, the way the blood has dried, just stomach content, all types of stuff you can tell the time of death. So for the medical examiner to say that as well is interesting.
Is any of the girls that you know of having kind of stalking history or anything like that from guys in the past?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I'd like to know, when Dylan was using her phone, was she connected to the internet? Because that would make a whole new problem, right? If she was connected to the internet, which I feel like she was. If they have internet, why would you not be connected to it and you live there? Because if she was using her phone and the internet was down that night or that morning, in the middle of the night, the early hours, then how was her phone working just fine if it was down? Was she not there?
I did hear Dave say something about like a month ago there was like a guy stalking her or something like that. I think you might want to talk to her about that.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that I need to know that you can think of?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And being 100 yards or ish away, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Fireworks?
No.
Backfires? Okay. All right, man.
It's crazy to me. It is absolutely crazy to me that most of the interviews, the search warrant, all sorts of things point to they think there was a gun involved. Why the heck would they all think that if there was no gunshot wounds? I don't get it. They specifically ask about bangs, flashes. I know Bethany stated something about a firecracker. He just asked about a firecracker, but I think that's a nice way to ask, did you hear any dang gunshots? They even said that at the neighbor's house when they were knocking on doors. No, we didn't hear any gunshots. Okay, you didn't hear gunshots. There was so much surrounding gunshots at the very beginning of this. And we have to ask ourselves, why? Why was there so much concern for gunshots, for ammunition, for all the things they were searching for in the search warrant because let me tell you, knives, knife sheaths, those were not listed first. I know they don't have to go in order, but to me, that tells you what's on your brain. The way you, speak or write something, you're going to say the most important thing first, the thing that's first on your brain. You're going to mention that first. Guns, ammunition, shell casings, that was all listed first before a knife in the search warrant.
Obviously, if you think of anything, let us know. I've been telling everybody that you guys have the crisis center on campus. My recommendation would be not to wait until you think you need it.
Okay, they just talk about counseling and getting help and stuff, so we can stop it there. But I just wanted to play that to make sure we're all on the same page. Lynden Beck's interview came out 3 months ago. Everyone did play it. Everyone heard it. He does not say that they went over there at 9 a.m. Just wanted to make that clear. Pokey says, and why did that one dude say they were double tapped? Now, Pokey's referring to the guy who claims, it's in the Moscow Police Department reports, there's a guy that claims he lives nearby. He put on an ATF jacket or his uncle's ATF jacket and went inside the house that night. And he described what he saw at the crime scene. And he said they were double tapped, meaning they each had more than one gunshot wound. What's interesting about that is when we see the neighbor at 5 a.m. leave to go hunting, I'm pretty sure he has on an ATF jacket. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that that guy was lying about going into the house, because we do see a neighbor put on an ATF jacket and leave to go hunting. Strange. It's like there's a lot of stuff that's said, and people, especially MPD, they treated that like it was just a rumor, like it wasn't true. But this guy said it himself. He went into the house, he saw the crime scene, they were double tapped. The reason he was able to go in is because he put on his uncle's ATF jacket. And we saw somebody leave in the morning with an ATF jacket on. So it's not, there's a little bit of truth in almost every rumor that we hear. And I find that strange, especially the things we've heard. So speaking of Hunter and the knife, I want to show you a couple of pictures. And we're going to start here. Now, this is the knife that was found on the table. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. This actually is not the knife that was found on the table at all. But it looks really similar, doesn't it? Aside from the handle, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way the blade looks and what's on the blade. If you Google and look up knives that have dried blood on them, this is what you come up with. This is not the knife that was found on the table. This is just a Google image of a knife that at one point had blood on it and it's dry. Doesn't it look awfully similar to the knife that was found on the table? I think so. And here's another knife with dried blood on it from a crime scene. Not 1122 crime scene, but it looks really similar to the knife that Hunter had and put on the table. Here's another one. Not the same, but you can see how it looks like. It's hard to tell really what's on it. You can just tell that there's something on it. There's a stain on it. Here is a machete from a crime scene that has dried blood on it. This is the knife that Hunter put on the table, and I think it looks awfully similar to all the other knives I just showed you that had dried blood on them. That, to me, looks very close to dried blood. It's very possible. If this knife was completely clean, because he stated he got it from the kitchen dang drawer. So you mean to tell me that these girls are putting dirty knives in a drawer? because this knife is obviously used on something. It looks very, very similar to the first picture, which is this one. Or this one, which both have dried blood. I think this looks like dried blood. It even has an orangish hue in a different angle. I also want to show you guys, while I'm on the whole knife topic, this is a picture of Hudson Lindau's little memorial thing. It says Hudson at the top of the cross right up here. And what is next to it is a knife shoved into the ground with a knife sheath laying next to it, which you can see in this zoomed in picture. This is a knife shoved into the ground with a knife sheath laying next to it. And if you don't remember who Hudson Lindau was, he died not long before 1122, and they believe that it was a hazing incident. Or was Hudson the one that was OD'd, or was that, now I'm getting them confused. Jesus. Anyways, Hudson passed away before the 1122 incident, but I do find it strange that there's a knife and a knife sheath at his memorial. Very weird, right? Now I'm curious, do you think they ever tested that knife at his memorial? Probably not. I don't even think they tested the knife that Hunter had and put on the table. Why would there be a knife and a knife sheath at Hudson Lindau's memorial site, shoved into the ground? It's almost like it's like the weapon that was used is in plain sight. You'll never find it. It's in plain sight. I'm not saying this is the weapon, but I'm not saying it's not either, because they never even looked for the weapon from 1122. Wild, right? All righty. Now I want to look at, we're going to switch gears. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh, 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this screen. Give it a second because it's thinking. It's going to pull up some pictures here in a second. And I want to go over one picture in particular in Dylan's room. Maybe. I don't know why this is taking so long. What's crazy is Nebula says these kids also had ski mask parties. They did. And if we all remember, there was a person apparently on Snapchat that posted a picture near 1122 that was wearing a ski mask at 3 a.m. that night, which, remember, we just went over. Law enforcement, coroner says right in the beginning, the crimes happened between 3 and 4. Now, when I was looking for pictures of knives that had blood on them or previously had blood on them from crime scenes, I came across a whole bunch of pictures that I've seen before, and I think most of us have, but it's the roommates at parties with machetes and big knives and playing Fruit Ninja with big machete knives. Where are those knives at? Why weren't all the knives that they've ever been seen with confiscated and tested? It's wild. Now I want to go over some of the pictures here. This is in Dylan's room, and some of these she drew, and I find them very strange. So this one here, to me, looks like a female, curly brown hair, with blood all over her face, but I want you to pay attention to her neck area. Does it not look like to you like there's red marks all over her neck? Like stab wounds almost all over her neck? We have to keep in mind where the wounds were found on the victims. Most of them had their subclavian artery or vein was cut, and that's where all the blood came from. Well, that's in your neck area. Does that look like it could be drawings of a person with blood on their face and neck wounds? I find that very strange. It almost looks like she has bruising all over the side of her face as well, and blood in her hair. Why is Dylan drawing stuff like this? Now, if you notice in this one, it's somebody's, this is a drawing by Dylan. It's somebody's back that is exposed with monster hands reaching out towards the exposed back. Here's one of an eye and an eyebrow. Strange. Here's one of a face and a chin. This one I find particularly strange. This one right here, the one to the left, it looks at first like squiggles, but it's not. It's a neck with a hand reaching around the neck. That's what this drawing is. The white and black one. I'm hoping you can see my cursor because I'm just pointing at it like this one. Actually, just to make sure. Oh, it won't let me draw on it. This one is this is a chin. This is a neck. And these are the fingers going around the neck. Now, I also find this one strange because it's just a chest with an exposed neck. That's a chin right here. So it's just a person with their neck exposed. It's strange to me because where we know the victims were stabbed at. Now, this one is particularly strange to me as well. It's also a neck that's exposed, right? The chin is up like this. But what is this right there? I just drew a line over the complete top of it. Erase it. I can't erase it. Oh, there we go. Does that, I don't even think I can zoom in anymore. But if you go back and watch this and you can't see what I'm talking about, just zoom in on this area right here. I'm drawing a line under it. Is that a knife in a chest or something stuck in the chest, like a stab wound? Because that's what it looks like to me. These are just some very, very strange drawings from her. I'm looking at. This one is weird too. I think it's just supposed to be like a person in a dress. It just looks weird. It looks to me like the figure you use when you're looking, explaining on an autopsy where the wounds are. Like the little pictogram thingy. It's a picture of a body, but it's more like a stick figure type body. That's what that looks like to me. It's not. It's just a person in a dress, I think. But that's what that looks like to me. This one for sure looks like somebody being stabbed in the chest. I find these very odd. And that's it from that picture that I wanted to show you. Oh, I don't want to leave though. Oops. So I want to talk about Dylan. And I want to talk about her saving the contact that she saved in her phone at 3:51. I want us to all picture How do we usually save a contact in our phone? I personally, either somebody calls me and I save that number, I create a contact and I add the contact to my phone, or somebody texts me and says, "Hey, this is so and so," and I save the contact from that text message. Well, we know Dylan didn't get a call or a text message at the time that she saved the contact. So how else do we save a contact? Well, if you're standing next to somebody and they're standing in front of you and they're giving you their number, you could save a contact that way. Or if you are talking to your friend or roommate and you say, "Hey, give me so-and-so's number." And your friend or roommate goes into their phone and looks it up and tells you what it is, and you save a contact. Or you can save a contact from an app, I believe, maybe Instagram. Somebody sent you their number and you can maybe save it that way. That I'm not 100% sure of, but I think you can. Or you're in somebody else's phone and you're getting a number out of their phone. So nobody called Dylan, nobody texted Dylan to save a number. How is she saving this number? Why is she saving this number at 3:51? What is so important at 3:51 that you're saving somebody's number? And then are we to believe that the person's number she saved is who she's chatting back and forth with on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat? Like, I'm trying to picture what is going on here. Or is this person standing in front of her and she's saving their number because they're telling her their number? It's just a weird thing. Hey, Jolie, it's just a weird thing to think about. Like, what is going on in that moment? Either way, she's doing an action, right? She's definitely not in bed. We know she's not sleeping. We're past that. But she's doing an action. Either she's talking to somebody that's next to her, "Hey, can I have your number?" Or she's talking to somebody who's next to her and says, "Hey, can you give me so-and-so's number?" Or she's saving it from somebody she's talking to on an app. I'm not so sure that the name she saved it under is actually that person's name. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. I just find it strange. What is so important at 3:51 in the morning when you claim that you were in bed sleeping? Her phone was silent from 2:11 to 3:51. And that was her next move at 3:51. She wasn't talking to anybody on an app just prior to 3:51. So how is she getting this number? Who is she talking to get this number in her phone? It's so strange. Let's see. Pumpkin says, if DM and BF are survivors, how come Molly McMeth is not a survivor? She was right there at that time too. She is a survived DoorDasher. I agree. She was right there too. Remember, she claims she saw Brian. Why would she say that? That is a flat out lie. Why would she? I have a pre-recorded video that I'm still editing. It's going to come out probably either later tonight or tomorrow. I'll be done editing it. But Bill Thompson has done some slimy, grimy stuff in the past. And I firmly believe that Bill Thompson coerced Molly McMichael to make up a story. He knew she was there that night, but I think because he knew she was there that night and they're friends, he had her make up a story, or they came up with a story together for her to be an eyewitness. So he had a piece of evidence against Brian Koberger, an eyewitness against Brian Koberger, because without that, he had nothing. And I firmly believe that, especially from all the research I did yesterday into past cases. I'm not going to talk about them until after I post the video. The video that's going to come out is only about one past case, but there's either 3 or 4 of them, and they're slimy and they're grimy and they're disgusting. Bill Thompson has been listed on the Brady list for 2 different misconduct in 2 different cases. He's literally on the Brady list. You can only make it onto the Brady list if you lie, if you're biased, if you coerce people into confessions, if you're grimy, if you're slimy and grimy and you're a liar. Misconduct. And that's why he's on the Brady list. And he's got more than one complaint on him for that. So all of these convictions are bullcrap. What he does is he goes and finds people and he threatens them that if they don't make up a story, he's charging them and putting them in jail for the rest of their life. That's what he tells them. And I've got proof of it. It's wild. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and I think that's all I had. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and do Bronx's buddy of the day. Let me remove this so you guys can see it. This is Lulu. I want you guys to meet Lulu. Look at Lulu. Look at that. To me, she looks like I'm sassy, but I also know I am the princess. If you guys know the screen name Inside Your Bones, this is her baby. So Inside Your Bones, this is her baby, and this is Lulu. This is Bronx's buddy of the day today. Keep sending in your pictures. I have a whole list of people that we're going to be sharing and showing. So if you haven't shared yet, go ahead and email me your pictures. BronxTalesTrueCrime@gmail.com. The tail is TAIL, like the tail of a dog. So this is Inside Your Bones' baby Lulu, and we love little Lulu. So cute. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to the mods. You guys are the best. Make sure and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will either see you later tonight on Crimes After Dark or watch out for a pre-recorded either tonight or tomorrow. Other than that, I'll see you soon. So, all right, guys. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see some of you tonight. Bye, guys. Oh, wait. Do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Bye, guys.